in behind there. Put a bit of carabiner, pull up some loose rope and secure myself. Again, look up, look for the best route, carry on climbing. On rock which is like this, you've got to be really careful because it's a little bit suspect again, so quite often you may thump it like this to test how strong it is. You can tell by the noise that it makes. Okay, and we're now at the top of the cliff. I can indicate to the B layer that I'm safe, and I'll move back, secure the line, and we'll take it from there.
Now lines can be dropped for the rest of the squadron. On a mission, the SAS have to carry absolutely everything they need. From medical supplies to the exact number of mortar bombs required. The Bergens alone can weigh more than 120 pounds. A vast weight that has to be got up the cliff by pure brute strength. Another indicator of how fit the average trooper has to be.
As each member of the squadron reaches the top of the cliff, I will meet them and I will then send them off with one of my guys to a pre-designated area to give us a 360-degree arc of protection around our foothold on the cliff. When we've got the guys up, we will then start bringing up the heavy equipment.
This position at the cliff top is known as the operational baseline. To get to this point, the squadron have used the skills of 3 of their troops. But what about the 4th? Mobility, John McAleese's specialist troop. It's not practical to use vehicles on our operation, so John has been given the responsibility of providing covering fire for the assault. Different theatres demand different requirements. Mobility troops are the ones who keep the squadron moving. Many of the regiment's earliest missions in the deserts of North Africa during World War II were mobility-based. Back then they used American jeeps, but the vehicle most closely associated with the regiment is affectionately known as the Pinky.
Pinky.
A term used all the time for the Land Rover 110.
The reason the vehicles are painted pink is, may sound funny, but in the desert, when you get used against the backdrop of the sand, they can't be seen.
Although Land Rovers have been used by the regiment since World War II, the original Pink Panther, the Pinky, came into use in the 60s.
Basically, it's just a Land Rover chassis with lots of extras added to it. Spare wheel on the front of the vehicle rather than on the bonnet, because in the olden days, the spare wheel's on here, and if you're down the trouble engine, you have to take the wheel off first before you can lift the bonnet. Believe it or not, it's quite handy if you've got to push in the vehicle, you've got the tyre in front, you don't damage the vehicle. You've got the old smoke pots in the front, either side. You've got these, you've got 3 in either corner of the vehicle. These can be fired out from the front or the rear of the vehicle to give you a smoke screen.
As well as the smoke pots, the early Pinky had 2 machine guns, mounted rear and front. It also carried a rocket launcher, storage for grenades, mines and rifles.
All this is just for carrying a weapon. In the olden days it'd be an SLR or something. Sitting there, it's out of the way, so it's not clattering about. This one here, carrying no grenades. Yep.
This makes it a self-contained assault vehicle with a vast range over any terrain.
This magic thing here is a built-in compass. Sand channels designed to get you out if you're bogged in the sand. In the back here, you've got 2 big tanks. Yep. Basically 50 gallon in each one, so you're carrying an extra 100 gallon of fuel. I mean, you appreciate you've got all that fuel, you've got all the weight. I mean, one good shot, the whole thing would just blow up. Yeah, basically it was a 4-wheel bomb.
This Land Rover was eventually replaced by vehicles whose fuel was less vulnerable. In fact, there was quite a lot of room for improvement on the original model.
Truthfully, they're a pain. It's hard work. No power steering, no nothing. heavy, cumbersome. All the weights at the top.
Despite its shortcomings, the old Pinky was considered a tough off-road vehicle that, thanks to its simple engineering, was easy to fix.
They're one of the first four-wheel sort of vehicles that were actually on the market, and they've done their job. You know, they've served the regiment proudly, I think, over the years. I mean, the modern one's a lot better. That is nice. Yeah, that's power. Yeah.
Modern Pinkies are less vulnerable, pack a more powerful punch, and with their V8 engines go faster and further.
But even then, they're still top heavy. So if you are out driving them, you've actually got to use the motorbikes to actually wreck your route a lot of the time prior to it.
Trail bikes have also been used as a way to launch hit-and-run strikes behind enemy lines, but their most common use is for reconnaissance. Mobility Troop is expected to ride and fix almost anything.
Most guys that are in Mobility Troop become good drivers over the years anyway, you know, because they're driving in different terrains, where it's desert, Arctic, sort of mountainous, jungle, you know. This, basically, it's a four-wheel motorbike.
The SAS will experiment with any vehicle, as long as it's fit for the job. This all-terrain vehicle combines the speed of the bike with the adaptability of the Land Rover.
Just makes it more of a stable platform for transporting stores, fuel, ammo. You could put an injured man on a stretcher in front of you, and then the same with the back, you could mount the stretcher and carry an injured man.
No trooper is expected to have a single set of skills. On our mission, Mac will utilize another of his specializations. Up till now, we have seen how the various specialist troops have worked together to achieve the prime objective of the mission. In our scenario, the extraction of a war criminal from his fictitious terrorist homeland. Air Troop have parachuted behind enemy lines, recce'd the target, and then tabbed into the insertion point and secured the cliff overlooking it. Boat Troop have delivered the squadron safely to the beach, and Mountain Troop have scaled the cliff, leading the way for the rest of the force to bring themselves and their equipment to the operational baseline. From here, mortars and heavy machine guns will provide covering fire for the whole mission, and ensure that the squadron have a well-defended point to exfil from. Mac and Mobility Troop have set up the SF, or Sustained Fire Line, that employs a weapon whose pedigree matches only that of the Pinky in SAS history, the Gympie.
Gympie, GPMG.
General purpose machine gun, otherwise known as the General.
The General Purpose Machine Gun has been used in the regiment since 1957 and has been involved in every single SAS action. It fires ball or standard NATO 7.62 rounds. At regular intervals, some of these are tipped with a tracer paint that starts to burn at 70 meters and continues for nearly a kilometer.
Tracer, so target indications, so you can see where it's going. I mean, you're firing at night, see where all the rounds are landing. Scare the shit at the enemy. If you had enemy troops, say, following you up, if it was a withdrawal, they're 1,000 metres away, 1,100 metres away, they think they're pretty safe, and then you open up with one of these, yeah, you're going to keep their heads down. Rather than hitting one spot at one time, or all the time, it's given a cone of fire, which is basically about 30 metres by about 8 metres. Yeah, so anything within that cone of fire is going to get chewed to bits. Talking thousands of rounds a minute, if need be. You've got accurate decimation, realistically.
Bullets from a Gympie fan out to create a cone of fire. By interlocking these cones from the SF line, it creates what is known as a beaten zone. This is an area that the enemy will find impossible to move through.